Avengers Endgame is just a week away, and fans are patiently waiting to see how our favourite heroes are going to fix the mess Thanos started in Infinity War, and who, if any, will save the day, and who will perish at the hands of the Mad Titan. So today on Beyond the Screen we're going to be counting down the top 10 Avengers Endgame theories. Let's jump in. Coming in at number 10, Bucky Barnes will become Captain America. Now, rumours have been abuzz about Captain America not returning to the MCU following Endgame, thus leading most fans to believe that he will likely die during the battle to save the fallen. So this has left fans kicking around the idea that maybe someone will step up to replace him. And who will that be? None other than his BFF Bucky Barnes. Now, this wouldn't be a huge shock as Barnes did become Captain America in the comics after Steve was killed in Civil War. However, as we know, the MCU hasn't really been abiding by the comics. Now, it's not clear how they'll make it work, but it's a near certainty that if Cap dies, Bucky will take up the mantle of Captain America. In at 9, Nova will make an appearance. This is something comic fans have been hoping to see for a very long time. After Guardians of the Galaxy, the Power Stone remained on Xander, under the care of the Nova Corps, leaving fans desperately hoping that when Thanos would arrive to claim it, a showdown between the Mad Titan and Nova would ensue. However, that didn't happen, with Marvel having the fight take place off screen and glossing over it with exposition. Many fans still hold out hope that Nova will make an appearance in Endgame, considering Thanos presumably destroyed the Nova Corps, which would leave Nova pretty pissed off. President of Marvel Kevin Feige even hinted that Nova would be coming soon to a theatre near you. So fingers crossed it's in Endgame. In at 8, Quicksilver will return from the dead. I mean, this is a stretch, but I'm into it. It was a devastating turn of events when Pietro Maximoff sacrificed himself in Age of Ultron to save Hawkeye. He is a hugely popular character in the comics, so it was shocking to see him killed off so quickly with just one film under his belt. However, let's entertain the notion that Endgame will use time travel to take down Thanos, and thus bringing the dead back to life. Couldn't the dead be Quicksilver? If behind the scenes pictures are anything to go by, Ant-Man winds up at the Battle of New York, an event that occurs long before we get to see Quicksilver. So here's hoping. Coming in at number 7, Captain America will die. Yep, you all knew this was coming. Avengers Endgame is set to be Chris Evans' last movie, and as sad as it may be, it makes a lot of sense that his version of Cap will be bid farewell in an epic moment of sacrifice during the final battle. However, as previously stated, it doesn't mean it will be the end of Captain America. In the comics, the mantle has been passed along to Bucky Barnes and Sam Wilson, with most hoping that Bucky will be the one to receive the shield. Coming in at 6, Loki faked his death. Again, this isn't new to Loki, oh no, as we know he has faked his own death before. However, something about his death in Infinity War felt a little too permanent for many fans' liking. But don't fret, he may just be saved with some very interesting theories posed by some sharp-eyed fans. Redditor Radkarth states how in Thor: The Dark World, Loki fakes his death, and he does this by using a mirrored version of himself. Now, if you look carefully, the reversed version of Loki uses his left hand instead of his right. When Loki attempts to stab Thanos at the beginning of Infinity War, he presents the Tesseract with his right hand and thrusts his dagger at Thanos with his left. So perhaps that version was actually a mirrored version of Loki, and he could still be alive somewhere and could still play an integral role in Endgame. Coming in at 5, the Quantum Realm might save everyone. Now, the Quantum Realm is a tricky beast and an incredibly dangerous dimension, where the concepts of space and time become irrelevant. To access the realm, you must either use a sling ring or shrink yourself down to a subatomic size using Pym particles. Now, right off the bat, we know that the stones don't work inside of the Quantum Realm, hence why Ant-Man wasn't dusted at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp. One theory, however, suggests that Thanos caused a rift which split the universe in two. The universe we saw at the end of Infinity War is the normal MCU, while the second universe looks much the same but is populated by the dusted heroes. In order to return the universe back to its original state, a tunnel needs to be found that can bridge the gap. This is where Ant-Man comes in, who may be the only hero capable of fixing this using the Quantum Realm. Coming in at number 4, Iron Man won't survive. No surprise there, sadly. Even before Infinity War was released, theories were rampant that Tony wouldn't survive, and those theories have not died down. Robert Downey Jr. has been stuck since 2008, with it seemingly looking like Downey is ready to take a step back, with him even expressing an interest in moving on to other roles outside of the MCU. So what better way to make this happen than to kill him off? However, other fans are predicting that Tony Stark will retire, with the actor making a handful of cameo appearances in upcoming MCU movies. We'll just have to wait and see though. Coming in at number 3, the dead are in the Soul Stone. We know very little about the Soul Stone, with fans only getting their first glimpse of it when Thanos sacrificed Gamora, with Thanos waking up with the Infinity Stone in his hand. One fan theory states that perhaps her sacrifice didn't reveal the stone, but instead it turned Gamora herself into the Soul Stone. This would make a lot of sense, considering following the snap, Thanos sees a young Gamora in a setting that looks a whole lot like the Soul World and the Soul Stone. So if this theory is correct, it means Thanos didn't kill half the universe, they were just transported inside the Soul Stone. Coming in at number 2, Doctor Strange let it all happen. Now this theory deviates from how the Avengers will defeat Thanos, but instead suggests that Thanos may actually fix everything himself. As we remember, painfully so, that the heroes on Titan almost removed the gauntlet from Thanos' hand by exposing him to an emotional mental attack by Mantis. They do this by tapping directly into his mind, while Quill ruins the day by beating the crap out of the Mad Titan and waking him from his trance-like state, and thus allowing him to eliminate half the life in the universe. Now this theory speculates that this played out exactly how Doctor Strange wanted. As we know, Strange looked into over 14 million versions of the future and foresaw just one where the heroes won. Knowing this, he willingly gave up the Time Stone to Thanos, something he previously claimed he would never do. So in this case, Strange orchestrated the attack where Mantis and Quill forced Thanos to confront his emotions. Thanos will be the only one able to undo what happened, and that moment of emotional vulnerability will be what pushes him to reset everything. And lastly, coming in at number 1, Captain Marvel will save everyone. Okay, this one is dense, but bear with me. As we learn in Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers gets her powers from the Tesseract, aka the Space Stone, thus informing us that the most powerful hero in the MCU is powered by one of the Infinity Stones. So with that being the case, Danvers' connection with the Space Stone suggests that she may actually be able to wield its full power like Thanos does in Infinity War, without actually holding the stone itself. Saying that, maybe the Avengers don't need the Infinity Stone to undo Thanos' snap in Endgame, if Captain Marvel's powers can match that of the Space Stone. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? Were there any theories that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below. If you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another Beyond the Screen vid. Until next time, see you later.